Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Surah Yasin, lesson 33, verse 26 and 27 continued. We have stopped at a point in the surah where Habib Najjar was crucified, he was genuine, he died a martyr, and he is told immediately, قِيلَ دَخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ, enter paradise. We learned from this that a martyr, a shaheed, enters paradise immediately. There's no questioning in the grave, there is no being held to account, there is no hisab. Secondly, this verse we are told Habib Najjar said, قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ, were it that my people knew what I'm experiencing now. So the word later is in balagha, in rhetoric, indicates tamanni. And tamanni means that you hope for something which is impossible. It means taraji. And taraji means to hope for something which cannot come into play. But you hope for it anyway. So he longed that these people who in fact killed him, and he calls them qawmi, my people. This is genuineness here, that he's been killed by people, yet he still wishes for good for them. Then he says, بِمَا غَفَرَ لِي رَبِّي وَجَعَلَنِي مِنَ الْمُكْرَمِينَ. I wish they knew how my Lord has forgiven me and made me of the mukrameen. And a mukram again is a recipient of karama, and a karama is a nobility of such a level that it is only given to the awliya. So he's died a wali of the awliya of Allah, and he is in paradise, and this is the beauty of the residents of paradise. This is what we are privy to here, to what the residents of that beautiful abode, what they have in their hearts. They just wish for good for people. We then looked at several points. We discussed paradise. We discussed the states of those who remember death from Ghazali's Ihya Ulumuddin. We discussed the types of martyrs. And in this session, we will discuss genuineness, ikhlas, before we carry on to the next verse. But what is genuineness and what is ikhlas, or sincerity? It basically means that your purpose in carrying out and executing your prayer, your charity, your fasting, in other words, your amalus salih, is not to garner the attention of people. It's not to become famous, and it's not to gain a place in the hearts of people. That is ikhlas. How do we know if we are mukhlis? We don't know. We strive, but we don't know. And you can't judge the next person. That's the beauty of it. Imam Ghazali rahimullah ta'ala says, if you were performing your salah and you asked a faqih, a jurist, to watch you pray, to judge your prayer and give you a grade out of 100% or something, and you raised your hands correctly, you read your Fatiha correctly, you prostrated correctly, you bowed down, your taslim was excellent, he's going to grade you and give you 100%. But that jurist has no idea whether or not you were planning what aisles to go into in the shopping center and what groceries to buy. That is the amazing part, that the jurist, that the human being has no access into the hearts of people, into that realm of ikhlas, regardless of how much fiqh you and I know. I could have mastered all the ahkam of nikah and of talaq and of hajj and of buying and selling, but that does not make me a genuine human being. I could still be rude, I could still be arrogant with all that knowledge. So the knowledge of fiqh doesn't grant you proximity to your creator. Imam Ghazali in fact says, if you think knowing hajj back to front in all the madhabs is going to get you paradise, then you need to recheck yourself. So our purpose here in this session, in discussing ikhlas, is to make it clear that genuineness is not about them, it's about me and my creator. It's a personal thing that we try and find within ourselves and question ourselves, introspect ourselves, and ask ourselves genuinely at night or in the morning, am I sincere in what I'm doing in my worship? Some said that ikhlas is that you don't fear what people say regarding your deeds. You don't care what they think about your deeds. And additionally, you don't care what flaws they notice in you. And thirdly, you are not concerned and you are not fazed if you become small in the hearts of people. Those three things combined, some say, forms genuineness. Now there are three levels of ikhlas. The lowest level is that you perform deeds for the life to come, your prayer and stuff, solely to impress people. بحضرة الناس لا غير. Only when they are present will you increase in prayer. فإن خلا بنفسه لا يفعل شيئا. But if the people leave, you will decrease in worship. That's the lowest level. The level a bit higher than that is أن يفعلها مطلقا حضر الناس أو لا. That you will perform your acts of worship whether the people are present or not. لكن يفرح عند حضورهم. But it pleases you more when they are present. So it pleases you more to carry out acts of worship when people are present, and it's not so nice when they are not there, when they are not looking at you, but you'll do it anyway. And the highest level was mentioned by the great wali of the awliya of Allah Ta'ala, Al-Fudayl ibn Ayyad. And we're supposed to be connected to this figure because his name is immortalized in every book of Tasawwuf. And he lived in the early 2nd, 3rd century. Fudayl bin Ayyad, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Now these people, Fudayl, Bishr bin al-Hafi, all of these people, Bishr was the biggest drunkard in Baghdad. Fudayl bin Ayyad was a highway robber. But they are remembered as the greatest awliya that ever lived. Bishr was a drunkard. And one day he picks up a piece of paper on the floor with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim written on it. He picks it up, he perfumes it, and he kisses it and places it in a mantle in his room or on a desk. And that night he dreams, and he's told in his dream, Ya Bishr, you have perfumed my name, I will now perfume your ruh, your soul. And his name is immortalized in every single book of the Tasawwuf. To the point where one of the 4 Imams of the Madhahib, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who wrote a 30-volume book on hadith, his Musnad. He was the jurist of his time, but he was seen sitting on the floor outside with Bishr on occasions. And when asked why, he sat by this peasant, as they called him, while he was the foremost jurist alive in the area. He said, well, I admit humbly that I could be the foremost jurist alive here, but I also admit that man, Bishr, he knows Allah better than I do. And for that reason, I sit before him. It's not always the amount of knowledge you have. You could master the book of Hajj inside out, all the technicalities. You could have mastered the book of fiqh, but you can still be an arrogant and rude person. It all comes down to that adab and that love and that genuineness, that ikhlas and that humility. And these are prophetic qualities that we try and imbibe. It's easy to master the outer qualities, to dress prophetic-like, which is good. But to attain one prophetic quality of humility or genuineness takes hard work. And these often we are blinded to because we can't see them. Back to Fudayl ibn Ayyad radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, Al-amal li-ajli nas shirk. These are the standards of the Ahli Sufiya. When you perform deeds to please people and not your creator, that is considered hidden shirk. It's in your heart. You don't fall out of Islam, but you have a problem. You have an association in your heart where your deeds are split between the creator and finding a place in the hearts of people. And he goes further to say, وَتَرْكُ الْعَمَلِ, to leave off your good deeds, لِأَجْلِ النَّاسِ هُوَ رِيَا. Subhanallah. That if you're in public and you normally perform a sunnah prayer or you do this dhikr when you're at home, now you go in public and you feel you're too shy to do the deeds, he says you have a sickness of ostentation, riya, because you're worried what people see and think about you. So you're still spoilt in your deeds. Ikhlas is that you don't care who sees you and who does not see you. And that is the magic here, the beauty here. That genuineness means I'm not worried who sees me and what they think of me. My sole concern is that this prayer I am doing and this charity is accepted by my Lord. And believe it or not, the entire salah, every movement has a wisdom in it. And I'll leave you with one before I go. When we raise our hands up in prayer for takbir, when we say Allahu Akbar, we lift the back of our hands up and it faces backwards. The symbolism in that, firstly, is, "O world, leave me alone. O material world, get away. My heart needs to face the Qibla for 5 minutes." It's our heart that needs to face the Qibla, and that's the Shafi'i madhab. The chest must face the Qibla. Ibn Arabi says, I'll end off with this, that when you drop your hands down, before you place them on your navel or on your stomach, then the front of your hands are now facing behind you. Because you have told the world and your hands, and you have told your Lord, I have lifted up all the material and I'm chucking it away. So I can stand before you as a servant, completely impoverished before the Lord of the heavens and the earth. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.